Oh man, so all the snitch talk has hip hop on edge, and folks thought that a snitch hunt was gonna switch locations and come down here to South Florida. Alright, so let's talk about it. Florida rapper YNW Melly has been fighting one of the biggest murder cases in hip hop history, okay? Prosecutors say back in 2018, Melly set up the murders for two of his friends and fellow YNW members, Sack, Chase, and Juvie. The story goes that after a late night studio session, Melly was in a car with YNW Bortlen, who was driving in the two victims, but prosecutors claim Melly shot them inside the vehicle and then Bortlen staged it as if it was a drive-by shooting. That's why Melly is facing 2 counts of first-degree murder. Now, Melly's first trial already happened in 2023, but it ended in a mistrial after the jury couldn't reach a unanimous verdict. Right now, he's locked up waiting for retrial, while Bortlen, who was behind the wheel that night, had his own separate case coming up. Now, just before Bortlen's trial was ready to begin, Bortlen shot everybody by taking a plea deal.
And state, is it the same terms that you discussed previously? Is there anything different?
No, Your Honor, that has changed. It's correctly reflected in the plea forms.
So the preforms to me look like on the 19 case as to the 2 counts of accessory after the fact, as well as to all 4 counts in the 23 case. These are going to be adjudications, 10 years Florida State prison, followed by, that's a 6 years probation?
That's correct, Your Honor.
6 years probation. All counts will run concurrently, all sentences run concurrently with one another. And it looks like there's no restitution in the 23 case. In the 19 case, I'm reserving restitution and ordering it payable. That's going to be to Terry Bagley as well as Ashley Phillips.
Yes, Your Honor. We've spoken to them and they don't anticipate there being any restitution, just because it's caution.
Okay. Well, I'll give you 120 days to tell me.
And that's where all the confusion started, alright? So as soon as news broke, people online started to instantly assume that he was gonna take a quote-unquote gunner plea. The idea that Bortlen cut a deal and was about to testify against Melly. That narrative caught a fire immediately. You had Kodak Black's lawyer Bradford Cohen, who usually talks about these type of things. He spoke on the situation. He also represented Melly early on.
All right, let's talk YNW Melly and YNW Bortlen. He is now doing the triple Lindy. For those youngsters that don't know what the triple Lindy is, it is when you do several flips off a high dive, and he will be flipping. He is going to be tell-all about anything he knows about the double murder case, and they will know if he's telling the truth or telling a lie when he gives his full quote-unquote confession as to what happened that evening. And that's what happens. A lot of times where guys are in the prison for 4 or 5 years awaiting trial and looking at a life sentence, and they're offered 10 years where they'll be home probably in another 3 years that he'll serve, he decides to flip and become a cheese eater. And that's what happens a lot of times on these cases. And I was expecting it to happen a lot sooner than it did. He held out for quite some time. But long story short is it looks like he's going to flip, and it makes the case on YNW Melly, depending on what he says, which I anticipate he'll say that YNW Melly is responsible. But depending on what he says, it will make the YNW Melly case a lot more difficult to try, but still not impossible. I've had cases where there were flipping witnesses where, I had a federal case with several flipping witnesses where we still got a not guilty, and it's possible to still get a not guilty in this case. Obviously, it's going to make it a lot more difficult. He has an excellent lawyer, by the way, Fred Haddad, who's a friend of mine, and I know Fred would have done a very good job for him at trial, but ultimately it is an individual's decision whether or not to become Chuck E. Cheese. And in this case, he has become Chuck E. Cheese. Is Chuck E. Cheese a mouse or a rat? I'm not sure. But long story short is he will be flipping, and it's going to make the case against YNW Melly a lot more difficult to win.
1090 Jake even hopped on the scene, said for sure that YNW Bortlen was going to snitch on Melly. Now, folks thought that Melly was cooked, but here's the twist though. Bortlen's lawyers are saying for sure that's not the case. That will not happen. So Fred Haddad said this right here: I don't represent snitches. Cortland Henry is not a snitch, and he would not be cooperating or testifying in YNW Melly's trial. And anyone who claims different has not seen the plea deal and has no idea what they're talking about. So things like this led to Bradford Cohen and 1090 Jake backtracking after speaking to Bortlen's representation.
All right, let's get to it. Let's talk YNW Bortlen and YNW Melly. The information is coming in fast and furious to my office. People are calling me left and right. They saw the post. You know what time it is. And they are telling me that YNW Bortlen is not going to be a flipper, and he is not going to be the cheese eater I previously said that he could become. And he is going to give a statement. I don't know what that statement's going to be, but his attorney is an excellent attorney. He's one of my good friends and you know, really helped me out as a young attorney. Fred Haddad, a great guy. And he represented very, very few, if any, flippers in the past. That's why I was kind of surprised at first. But it turns out, the rumor on the street, YNW Bortlen is not going to be a flipper, but he will give a proffer.
Now I'm a man and I can admit when I'm wrong, and apparently damn near 90% of us were wrong. This is YNW Bortlen's other lawyer, and I tapped in with him to find out about Bortlen's snitching allegations.
Hey, 1090 Jake. Thanks for giving me the chance to clear up a lot of the confusion and just chaos that's happening online right now. It's clear that a lot of people just don't understand what has happened. In all, he was facing 5 mandatory life sentences if found guilty, plus an additional 75 years on top of that. And the facts of his plea are that he has pled no contest. That's very important because that means he has not admitted guilt. He's not admitted that he's done anything wrong. And he's certainly not admitted or given information about anybody else. He's been found guilty, and in exchange, the state has dismissed the 2 murder counts, the conspiracy to tamper with a witness count, and the charge about directing the activities of a criminal gang. He's going to be sentenced to 10 years in Florida State Prison, followed by 6 years of probation with credit for time that he has served. And he's required as a part of that to sit down and give what's called a proffer. Typically, when you hear the word proffer, especially in a criminal case, it's when a witness offers information or will explain what they would testify to if called at trial or a hearing. It's unfortunate that we use that word today in court because that's not what's going to happen in this case. Bortlen is not going to sit down and give a lengthy proffer or answer questions about what he would testify to if he were called as a witness, because we don't anticipate him being called as a witness at any trial or any hearing, especially not one involving Melly. What I can tell you is that Bortlen is not going to implicate anybody else. He's not going to provide information against anybody else. Melly's name is not even going to come out of his mouth when he's talking to prosecutors in this case. I anticipate the conversation with the prosecutors is going to be very, very brief. And it is not going to be what everyone thinks it's going to be online, where he sits down and rats or provides information to cooperate against other people. A lot of people are saying that Bortlen's plea and his proffer are going to hurt Melly in some way and affect his trial in the future. And again, that's absolutely untrue. YNW Bortlen is not going to be a state witness. YNW Bortlen is not going to provide information that's going to impact Melly's trial in any way. YNW Bortlen is not expected to come and provide information against anybody. So to be clear, his plea, his proffer, and anything surrounding it will have absolutely no impact on Melly's trial.
Now this kind of makes sense because they said when Melly's mom walked in the courtroom, she was in good spirits and she blew a kiss to Bortlen in the jury box. Shout out to Boom Paul for always keeping everybody updated with these things on Twitter, man. Shout out to him for that work. But Bortlen himself came and spoke out and dropped a little freestyle, dog.
Man, you fuck niggas better stop playing on my top, man. Y'all know it's sport the fucking sport, man. I'm 10 toes down. A nigga hold it down, stay solid, they hate the nigga. Niggas fold, they go troll, they quick, they praise the nigga. I'm a young nigga out the G, just skated for license. What the fuck I look like taking the deal that hurt my niggas? What the fuck I look like giving a fuck about how y'all feel? I'm a young fly nigga, be back to raising hell, prevail. Damn, why they want a nigga to take that L? Don't you know you can see the dirt for even speaking that L? It's sport the sport, and ain't a part of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. YNW fail, and this shit can't never be stopped. Silly nigga. You fuck niggas better stop playing on my top like y'all know what the fuck going on, man. Hey, free me in, Melly, bitch boys.
So Bort basically saying, man, he's not gonna turn on Melly. Drop the song saying he holding it down. That's just gonna be that. Now, you have that going on, but YNW Juvie's lawyer is speaking now. They're trying to sue Melly for money, okay? Long story short, saying that although they may not testify in the actual trial because they may not find Bortlen credible, so the state may not use him, but we're going to use him for sure. We're going to depose him because he no longer is able to plead the fifth because of the plea that he took. In the civil trial, they're trying to let it be known that we're going to put Bortlen on the stand. That's what Juvie's lawyers are saying. No matter what they're saying, I don't care how much they're trying to flip it to make it seem like he's not going to cooperate. Also, he still may cooperate, have to cooperate, because in his plea it says he has to give a proffer. He's going to be in jail in the meantime. They're going to do whatever and say whatever they can to keep Bortlen safe. That's what Juvie's attorney is saying. I'm just giving y'all the information, alright? So the story sits like this. The Melly's trial is still pending. Bortlen's case is wrapped up through his plea. And the internet once again has to learn the hard way that every plea doesn't equal snitching, so we just don't know. But his lawyer said it though. He does not represent snitches. You gotta just wait to see if that's true. But y'all gotta let me know what you gotta say in the comment section below. Me, I'm going ahead and get up out of here though. This is another update with Stace. Yo.